On September 12, 2025, astronomers encountered a discovery that overturned everything they thought they understood about the behavior of the universe. Emerging from the blackness of deep space was a massive object on fire with light trailing a tail that spanned the sky at nearly 5 times the width of the full moon. It was so vast that even backyard telescopes could spot it with ease. Within hours, scientists confirmed this was not a normal comet. It was far bigger, far more luminous, and far more unsettling than anything ever recorded. Officially labeled C/2025 R2 and now known simply as Swan, its arrival alone was shocking. But what truly stunned researchers was the timing. Because at the very same moment, another object, the already controversial 3I Atlas, was charging toward the sun from the opposite side of the sky. Both objects were on course to reach perihelion within the same 10-day window. Both would vanish behind the sun's glare at their most critical moment, and both were exhibiting anomalies that challenged the laws of physics. The probability of two interstellar visitors arriving like this by pure chance is so infinitesimal that many scientists stopped calling it a coincidence and began quietly using another word, mission. One interstellar object was strange enough, but the appearance of second, one nearly 100 times larger, moving through the same solar corridor suggested this was not an accident of astronomy. It looked like coordination. As data streamed in, Swan's true nature became even more disturbing. Its size alone was staggering, but its behavior was what set off alarms. Unlike ordinary comets that scatter light in predictable ways, Swan's reflections carried metallic signatures, traces of nickel and cobalt, the same elements humans use to create hardened alloys and corrosion-resistant structures. Some scientists began referring to it as the fortress. While most comets fragment under solar stress, Swan appeared protected, armored, maintaining a brightness curve that ice and dust could never produce naturally. Its record-breaking tail didn't disperse chaotically. It pulsed subtly and rhythmically as if guided by controlled micro-thrusts. Then came the blackout. From October 8th through October 18th, the sun's glare rendered direct observation impossible. During this window, neither Swan nor Atlas could be clearly monitored. Their closest approaches to both the sun and each other occurred precisely when Earth-based instruments were blinded. To many, this looked less like bad luck and more like coordination, as if their trajectories had been deliberately engineered to meet under cover of solar interference. In orbital mechanics, astronomers refer to this as a corridor, a narrow alignment of space and time where objects intersect in ways randomness can't explain. And whether by chance or design, this corridor forced the scientific community to confront a question it had long avoided. What if these objects aren't just passing through? What if they're converging for a reason? While orbital data raised questions, energy measurements triggered alarms. Atlas had already shocked researchers with sudden acceleration bursts resembling thruster maneuvers, each requiring energy equivalent to 10 nuclear power plants. But Swan made even that seem trivial. Its implied energy output reached levels estimated at 10,000 gigawatts, far exceeding the entire power grid of Earth. No natural comet nucleus could generate such sustained output. Its metallic reflectivity, persistent halo, and rhythmic pulses suggested control, not outgassing. More like a machine steering itself using plasma bursts. What was once dismissed as science fiction, engineered propulsion, began circulating quietly among astronomers who could no longer ignore the numbers. Even the timing of Swan's pulses was disturbing. Regular enough to resemble a signal. Structured enough to suggest communication. Some now argue Swan isn't a fortress at all, but a beacon. If Atlas is a maneuvering drone, then Swan may be the mothership. A colossal structure built to survive millennia, returning not by chance, but by cycle. With an orbital period exceeding 22,000 years, Swan may have passed through our skies long before recorded history, possibly during the last ice age. Its arrival could have left impressions remembered as myths, carvings, or warnings. And now it is back, aligned once again with another anomaly, as if reminding us we are not the only intelligence shaping the heavens. Just as public curiosity peaked, silence fell. NASA, ESA, and other agencies quietly restricted data releases, halting high-resolution imaging and radar tracking during the critical days near perihelion. Official explanations cited standard solar conjunction safety protocols, but leaks told a different story. Orders were explicit: avoid public commentary, deny raw data requests, redirect alternative observation proposals. The blackout wasn't just natural, it was enforced. That silence only amplified the efforts of independent astronomers. Across forums and encrypted networks, amateur observatories and distributed telescope groups scrambled to keep their eyes on the sky. Collectives in Spain and decentralized tracking networks began sharing fragments of data governments wouldn't release. This grassroots push fueled speculation that something extraordinary was unfolding behind the scenes, something institutions didn't want the public to see. Because if Swan and Atlas are converging with intent, then the real question isn't what they are. It's why they're here now. And if their meeting was engineered, humanity may have already stumbled into the middle of a mission never meant to be observed. As Atlas continued its approach, its tail displayed behavior that defied explanation. Over several weeks, 3 sudden accelerations were recorded, sharp, precise, and evenly spaced, almost like clockwork. Each coincided with abrupt color shifts in the tail, snapping from red to neutral and back again, as though an unseen mechanism were adjusting propulsion. Natural comet outgassing is gradual. What Atlas showed was controlled. Meanwhile, Swan mirrored this behavior on a vastly larger scale. Its enormous tail pulsed with microbursts, nudging its course with precision. One small and agile, one vast and unstoppable, both maneuvering not as wanderers, but as participants in a coordinated plan. Most chilling of all, their thrusts appeared synchronized. For astronomers who trust orbital mechanics above all else, the implications were staggering. 2 objects arriving from opposite sides of the galaxy, yet occupying the same narrow corridor of space and time. Their perihelion points lay only 50 million kilometers apart, closer than the distance between Earth and Mars. Their timing differed by mere days, all of it unfolding during the exact blackout window. At this point, even the most cautious voices began to admit what the data implied. This looks engineered. When scientists compared energy outputs, disbelief turned into dread. Atlas radiated bursts capable of powering cities. Swan's sustained luminosity implied energy surpassing everything humanity generates combined. No natural process could sustain such output without collapsing. Some theorized Swan was harvesting solar energy, using the sun as a recharge station. Others proposed its metallic structure functioned as a massive energy collector. The most haunting idea was that the energy wasn't for movement at all, but for communication. A beacon transmitting not to Earth, but far beyond. If true, Swan wasn't visiting. It was reporting, and we were never the intended audience. As both objects closed in, institutional silence deepened. Data became classified. Requests were denied. FOIA documents returned heavily redacted. Researchers were reassigned. Teams dissolved. Telescope feeds restricted. This wasn't cautious science. It was deliberate suppression. Independent astronomers filled the void, linking backyard telescopes and improvised satellites to track what official channels refused to share. The more silence from above, the louder the whispers became. When discoveries threaten not just science but power, truth is rarely denied. It is hidden. Ancient records soon enter the discussion. Swan's orbital period suggested its last return aligned with the end of the last ice age. Sites like Göbekli Tepe gained renewed attention, its stone carvings depicting celestial symbols that some believe represent long-period comets. Imagine early humans watching a glowing fortress dominate the sky, its memory etched into myth and stone. If Swan has been returning for tens of thousands of years, then what we're seeing may not be discovery, but recurrence. Behind official statements, darker operations reportedly unfolded. Sources spoke of a classified probe launched from a covert orbital platform, designed to analyze Swan's structure. It never returned. Just over 1,000,000 kilometers out, its signal was severed. The final image showed a reflection, a fractal echo of the probe itself, as if Swan had scanned it in perfect mimicry. Engineers described the phenomenon as an energy lattice, similar to a Faraday cage, capable not only of shielding but repelling intrusions. If true, Swan is not passive. It is defended and aware. Spectroscopic data from Webb added another layer. Instead of chaotic comet chemistry, Swan's spectrum revealed highly refined organic molecules, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons arranged with unsettling precision. These are the precursors to life. Too clean, too ordered. Some theorize Swan isn't just a machine, but a carrier, a seed ship transporting life across star systems. Atlas, the scout. Swan, the guardian. Observation, protection, and perhaps colonization. As the blackout deepened, trackers noticed something few dared to say. The trajectories weren't just intersecting, they were aligning. Like ships arriving at harbor. Some proposed a refueling event, the sun acting as an energy node. Others suggested a data handoff. The most unsettling theory was that this rendezvous wasn't between them, but with us. Then Webb detected emissions no natural object should produce. Swan was radiating in a frequency band between soft X-rays and gamma rays, pulsing with structure precision. Smaller detectors overloaded. One telescope array temporarily went blind. Engineers called it deliberate jamming. Swan wasn't hiding. It was controlling visibility. Soon after, amateur trackers reported a directed energy burst aimed not at Earth, but at the moon. The signal was layered, complex, resembling executable code more than language. Its destination was a lunar region known for unexplained mass concentrations, mascons. What if Swan wasn't observing? What if it was activating something dormant beneath the lunar surface? Then Earth itself responded. Magnetometers detected synchronized pulses matching Swan's emissions. Seismographs recorded low-frequency vibrations with no tectonic cause. Migratory animals altered their navigation patterns worldwide. It was as if the planet itself remembered something long forgotten. By now, a terrifying narrative emerged. What if Oumuamua was the lock? A silent test, and Swan and Atlas together are the key, the drone and the fortress. During one of Swan's strongest pulses, both Voyager probes briefly transmitted unexplained data bursts, as though something dormant within them had awakened. If so, this isn't the beginning of the story. It's the continuation of a cycle written into space itself. The James Webb Telescope was built to look outward. Instead, it gave us a reflection. Swan and Three-Eye Atlas didn't wander in by accident. Their synchronization, power, maneuvers, and silence point to intent. A rendezvous not meant to be seen. Yet we saw it. That changes everything. Because it suggests humanity didn't intercept a random event, but a mission older than civilization itself, returning only when we had built the tools capable of noticing. And if that's true, then the most unsettling realization is this. We were never the observers. We were the observed. And sometimes, simply noticing is the message. I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video and subscribe to help the channel grow. Every bit of support counts.